It looks sick. Like, just looking at this thing, dude, this is awesome. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some more All the Mods 9. As you can see by my attire, we are still to be working with our nuclear reactor today, because today, we need to start making our antimatter. Now, in order for us to get our antimatter, we need to build the supercritical phase shifter, I believe it is called, the SPS. And in order for us to get that, we need to make ourselves two materials, plutonium and polonium. In the last video, we managed to make our plutonium, and since then, we have managed to get more than enough of the molten plutonium for us to get the pellet. But for polonium, we needed this thing right here called the solar neutron activator, and everything else I had except HDPE sheets. I have gathered up everything I needed, and I have actually managed to set up the automation. So right here we have our... What on earth is hitting me? I swear, I take damage randomly. I was already on the ground like, what is this, bedrock? But anyway, the setup we have right here is first we have ourselves these melons growing here, which are getting chopped up in a sawmill to make melon slices, which are then getting crushed to make biofuel. Then over here behind all these machines where we wouldn't be able to see it except for at this corner, we have ourselves a reaction chamber, which is mixing water and hydrogen and that biofuel to create ethylene and a stuff called substrate. That ethylene is then being concentrated into liquid ethylene, which is then getting mixed with oxygen and that substrate to make an HDPE pellet. Once we get 3 of those, it then enriches, making the sheets. So why isn't this going? Well, remember how I said that this thing right here makes both the substrate and the ethylene? Well, if we look right here, the final source of the ethylene, that's full. Which means this one's full. Which means this one's full, which means it won't generate, which means we get no substrate. That's why this setup sucks. But all the same, we have 1.5k of the HDPE sheets, which is more than enough for how I'm gonna need throughout, like, the rest of the series. I will never need more than this, so it's fine. I can live with it. So we just need to go ahead and grab our 1 sheet, and then we can go ahead and then make ourselves this solar panel-like thing. So to make this, we need the HDPE, reinforced alloy, elite control circuit, steel casing, and bronze. With all that together, we get ourselves our neutron activator. Now, this thing will only work in the day. Why can I not sleep? Oh, it's a blood moon. Oh, I can't sleep in a blood moon. I mean, it's almost over. It's currently 18 o'clock, so it'll be fine soon enough. So let's go ahead and just head back to the mining dimension. I mean, hey, this is also in the mining dimension, so it might work differently. So we can go ahead, slap this thing down here, and now the nuclear waste heads into here, and it doesn't work. That is unfortunate. So yeah, we are going to need to make sure that we keep this constantly at daytime if we want this thing to work. But with this, I think it just started. Wait, no, it's just pulsating because it has nuclear stuff in it. We can go ahead and put an output right up front here. That's where our polonium will go once it is done. So now we just need to wait for about like maybe 15 seconds.
12 seconds later.
Okay, so it should be starting to work here any second now. Yes, there we go. Once that thing starts beaming down on it, then you know it's working. Okay, so we are now getting our polonium. That's actually really good. Okay, so once it turns to 0 o'clock, then it works. Okay, and we're already getting a pretty hefty amount of our polonium. That is pretty good. So then, now that we've gotten the polonium and our plutonium, we are now ready to convert these guys over to the pellets. How do we do that? Well, they both are exactly the same. You just need to replace plutonium and polonium interchangeably, and you will use crushed fluorite. That's gonna be fun to get. But once you put those into a pressurized reaction chamber, we will get polonium and spent nuclear waste. That's gonna be fun to deal with. So I have the reaction chambers, so we can go ahead and put each of those down. And yeah, now those are in there, and now all of these things are radioactive. And I think I'm gonna get an entangled block onto this sink, so that way I can then pump water into both of these. And then we'll just need to get ourselves a bunch of crushed fluorite.
Eventually.
Alrighty, gathered up the entangled block, And I got the fluorite, so now what we need to do, we got the plutonium one right here. Let's go ahead and put our 8 fluorite right into here. Oh, I never hooked these things up to power. Oh. Okay, let me go grab some flux points. Okay, there we go. Now these things should work more properly. There we go. Okay, now that's going in, and then I want to have this be on the front, because from the front, we're gonna need to take out our gases, because these things, they can't be used in any way, so it's like, there really is just no way to use our spent nuclear waste. But with that, we got ourselves 8 plutonium, and then we just need to throw in another stack, and that is good, because we're going to need 72 plutonium. And then the rest of these fluorite will just go to making the polonium.
2 very boring minutes later.
Alrighty, last bit of polonium and plutonium right here, and there we go. Now we've got it all. Okay, so I did have to take some of that earlier, so I did already get the quests, but you know what? That is fine. So now that we've gotten ourselves these babies, now we just need to go ahead, grab ourselves our HTPE, and just grab 4.5 stacks of this stuff. So now what we need to do is I'm actually going to need to go ahead and make 6 of these things, because we're going to need quite a few of those, so I can get that going while we're working with this, because now we need to make our SPS casings, reactor casings, and our SPS pores. We'll start with the casing, because we're going to need 72 of these. So we can go ahead, throw all of these things into here, because they are now going to get converted into our casings. There should be 8 more after that, and there we go. That is all that done. So now these 8 right here are going to be mixed with our ultimate control circuits, which will allow us to make ourselves our ports whenever those things are ready. Then we can go ahead and grab these, and then we got our SPS ports. Okay, there we go. Cool. So I'm going to get the glass real quickly, and then, well, actually, I also have another thing right here, too. And I actually needed 3 more polonium, because I completely forgot I needed these supercharged coils. To get these, we need... How am I out of copper? Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I never set up a farm for copper. Huh. Well, I'm going to go ahead and grab that. And then we're also going to need these lasers, which is going to take diamond, steel casing, and more reinforced alloy. And I need 2 of these supercharged coils. So I have everything else. I just need to gather up those things. So I'm going to get the reactor glass and the coils. And then we're going to go ahead and then start making our SPS.
5 minutes later.
Alright, it's the moment of truth. So, now that we've gathered everything, we just need to go ahead and put this on top of my reactor. And the reason we're putting it on top is because... well, it's for chunk reasons, really, because putting the SPS on top of your fission reactor, where you're most likely to also be generating your polonium, is really just the smartest decision for keeping things all compacted. So, what we need to do is we need to go ahead and put our glass on top of here, and I can go ahead and remove that steel block now, because that was just so that way these don't touch. And then we just need to go out by, I believe... 3, so that way this all fits into a little 5 thing, like so. I just need to go around and get the other side as well. My builder's wand would probably be very ideal for this, and yeah, that should be right. It actually does have a picture in here, because I do keep forgetting. And yes, this is mostly correct. However, I do need to cut out the corners, because I did do this slightly mistakenly. There we go. That's what that thing's supposed to look like. So then, after that, we need to just take these things into account, and then just go up, so that way this thing will also be at 5. Okay, everything I just did, ignore that. That was all completely wrong, with the exception of this little thing around here, because down here, I actually needed to surround this baby with the SPS casing. I was trying to, like, make it all the glass and then surround that with the casing, and that is just not at all how this thing is supposed to work, because we needed to make it like that, and then we'd build it up around here like I was thinking initially. Okay, so let me go ahead and put all these things back. Okay, there we go. So now that all those things are put back into place, now we just need to fill in all of these corners with our SPS casing. Oh my gosh, I did this so wrong before. Like, I knew that something was amiss, but I couldn't figure out what it was. It just didn't feel right. And then I ended up seeing just the full magnitude of the stupidity that I unleashed. And it's just like, I brought shame to my family. I really did. I must apologize to my family for this later, for the great shame I brought to them. But there we go. That's all that well and good. So I believe now I just need to put in the rest of these top ones right here, leaving no glass exposed. And there we go. Now all that's left for us to do is just go ahead and then fill the rest of this in. And we can go ahead and put those there. Now, before we finish this, I am going to end up running out of glass. And the reason for that is because we do still have some things that we need to replace. And that is going to be with these SPS ports. Now, I do just remember that one of my quest lines is going to give me another port. So we'll go ahead and grab that one right there. Then we're going to want another one to be about here. And then this one is going to be where something's going to go in. And then on these sides here and then over here, we're also going to go ahead and put 2 ports in. And these are going to be where our coils are going to go. So let's go ahead and then implant those babies right now before we close this thing up. Because now I should have enough glass. Do I have enough glass? Okay, yeah, no, I do have enough glass. Okay, I was getting a little bit concerned there because there's a very large amount of holes. But now we should be able to just bring all of these things to a close with these last 2 blocks right here. And then there we go. We've got ourselves our supercritical phase shifter. Awesome. So, now that's done, I'm observing a complete SPS. It should... There we go! Okay, I was gonna say, it should give me the quest line done. But there we go. Now it is done. So now, all that is left for us to do is to obtain 1,000 millibuckets of antimatter and then throw that into a chemical crystallizer to get ourselves an antimatter pellet. How we're going to use this thing to make antimatter is we need to pump polonium into here, the stuff that only generates in the day. Now that is more like it. So now that we're getting more polonium, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take this baby and then pipe this thing all the way back up to here to where it'll go inside of this port right here. We're just going to need to go ahead and bring these babies to a point where they will intersect. And there we go. Now all of our polonium will be going into here. It can only hold 2 millibuckets at once, but that is fine. So here's the deal. For the antimatter, it's going to take 1,000 millibuckets to make the pellet. And for us to get 1,000 millibuckets, we're going to need a lot of polonium because 1,000 makes only 1 millibucket. I think that means I need 1,000,000 polonium. Considering that we only have 100,000, we're only about 1/10 of the way there. So this is gonna be the fun part. So since it's gonna take a bit, we can go ahead and get this started now by connecting both of these to our phase shifters because they want to be on the coils. But here's the thing. I do not want to bypass the limit on this. And there is a reason for that. So I'm going to turn this baby on. You can already hear the noise. And yeah, wow, it is very loud. And it is going to use quite a bit of power. I may even not want to have both of these on, actually. But it looks sick. Like, just looking at this thing, like, dude, this is awesome. But here's why I don't want to have those things have bypass the limit. And here's why I may not want to use that thing both at all. If you look into here, inside of this induction matrix, this thing can hold 1.6 trillion FE. If I have that thing without limit, and it's also just going to be constantly pumping in the polonium that may or may not be there, and it'll still use a power even if there is no polonium, it's just gonna drain my matrix fast. So I'm gonna want to keep an eye on this. It looks like it should be good. It's not draining too much. It's only taking out about 1 million FE a tick, and I make about 12 million. Yeah, 12 million. So we're still good for it. But at the same time, yeah, we don't want these things to be limitless. This is one of the few times where I don't want that. So, but yeah, no, it's like, have you ever seen a plasma globe? This is like that, but like 1 million times better. So now, we just need to wait until we get ourselves 1 million of that, and then we will actually get ourselves our antimatter. Well, actually, it's 1,000 antimatter. But we're actually gonna need 2 of these. Why do we need 2 of them? Well, the reason for that is simple. By mixing those 2 with these ingredients and here that we have yet to have come across, we will be able to get ourselves an improbable probability device. What the heck is that name? I don't even know what this thing does, but it's an ingredient for the All the Mods star. So, yeah, that is, once again, one step closer to the All the Mods star. Now, I could just wait around for us to be able to get the antimatter, but seeing as how this is already just a part of a future investment for a later date, I say GG. So do you like this video? Good. Then be sure to check out our last video where we built this fusion reactor in preparation for today's video. Bye-bye!